One. Welcome back to the Midnight Who Show, and today we are going to be reviewing Doctor Who Series 11, Episode 4, Arachnids in the UK. So the Doctor and her new companions have arrived back in Sheffield to drop her companions off. The Doctor decides to stay around and go to tea at Yaz's, and we get to meet Yaz's family a bit, which I think is kind of cool. We get to see a little bit more about her and who her family are, and they're definitely a very interesting family she has. Now, when the Doctor is there, they soon discover something in a nearby apartment that seems a little bit odd. There's cobwebs all over the place, and the occupant of that apartment is all webbed up. Yeah, so the spiders of Sheffield are kind of acting a bit odd, to say the least. These are definitely not your normal spiders, and when we do first see the spiders, which are designed very well, they don't look very fake, which I think is really good. They are actually very large, and there's a larger spider that shows up later with the businessman in this episode, the American businessman who comes out of the tub, and that's a giant spider. So, of course, these spiders are basically kind of not your normal type of spiders, and the Doctor is on the case to figure out what is going on with these spiders of Sheffield. And this all leads the Doctor to a place where Yaz's mom was going to be working at, which was a new hotel that was being built. And this is where the center of the spiders is at. And basically there, the Doctor soon discovers that there's basically the biggest thing that they were trying to hide up at the hotel is the cause to making the spiders kind of act kind of unusual and a little bit more human killing breed of spiders. So yeah, overall, I really thought the Arachnids in the UK was just a pretty okay story. There was some very creepy moments of the story. Probably even more creepy for people who have arachnophobia. This story is probably a little bit more tougher to bear for them, honestly. This is definitely probably not a story they would enjoy as much. I'm not the best with spiders. This story pushed it a little bit too because, that big spider. It was mostly that big spider. So Doctor Who making you want to hide behind the couch again. What Doctor Who does best. So on the other side of it, though, let's talk about this. There is really the villain of the story is not really the spiders in a way. The spiders are just mutated. They're kind of changed. And they're kind of different. So they're not quite a villain, but the businessman, the American businessman, is kind of me more as the one who's kind of the bad guy of the story, because he's the one who kind of slid this underneath it, and this is what caused the spiders to act a little stranger than normal. But honestly, though, I think that works because it's kind of more the Doctor having to investigate and figure out what's going on. So it's not really like a big bad of the week, it's just there's a problem and the Doctor has to solve it. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the characters. I really think the Doctor was great in this story. Jodie Whittaker did another great performance. I really liked all the development that was happening with all the companions, especially Graham. I really thought that was kind of interesting as he's now confronting, he's back in his home and he has to confront, all the grief that has built up in him. And you kind of see that, and he's kind of having a little bit harder, and he sees, his wife, he sees Grace a little bit, and it's definitely a really good moment for him. And also with Yaz, we get to see where she comes from and why she is a little bit who her family is, and I think that is awesome. Now, what I will say, though, the story of this week's story, I don't think is the best. I think it's kind of a medium-level story. There's some really good moments of the story, but there's also some very weak moments that I don't really like. But the story is really good with giving some really good character development to the Doctor and her new companions. So I definitely really enjoy that. And to me, though, the story was interesting. It definitely caught me and really got me excited to see what was going on, because definitely the spider, what was going on, I really liked that. So yeah, overall, that part of the story I did like. It definitely, kept my interest. I definitely did not drift away when watching this. But there's definitely parts of the story that I do say is a little weak. So yeah, overall, Arachnids in the UK was a fairly decent story. There's definitely moments that I thought was really good with it, but sometimes the story was very kind of lackluster and need a little bit more kind of to it to really, continue to the story. Mostly, I think the ending was probably the weakest part. I think it felt, for me at least, it was very kind of just rushed. Here's the ending. We're out of time. Here it is. That's probably the biggest part of it, but I will praise this episode for some great character development with the Doctor and her new companions. And of course, the new companions do decide to stay. They decide to say, you know what, Doctor, we're going to continue traveling with you. So I am very excited to see where this new companion team goes with. And yeah, so yeah, Arachnids in the UK, I would probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. So yeah, tell me your guys' thoughts. What did you think of Arachnids in the UK in the comments below? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.